Hello and welcome to the 6th edition of the B2B Influencer Marketing Chat Series. My name is Mariska Kestelo and I'm the founder of Word of Mice. And before we start with, of course, a very interesting topic and a very relevant topic all about well-being and mental health, I would like to introduce first our host, my weekly support, not only during the chat series, but actually during the entire journey of the company, Jaro. Would you like to share something introduce yourself, share something about the flow of the conversation before I will introduce Helen?
Hello everyone, my name is Jaroslav. So I have so many names, but people call me Jaro abroad. So nice to have you here today. This is our first chat this year in 2021. We have already had 5 in the past year, actually 15 past year, so we continue the chat. And so for today, the chat will last around 45 minutes. I write you down the commental agenda. So please join the conversation, ask the questions. And our guest host, Helen, will answer them at the end. So over to you, Mariska, and introduce our special guest today.
Thank you, Jaro. Helen, I'm very delighted to have you here. We met, I think, in the very early steps when I created my company, B2B Influencer Marketing, I think already 2017, 2018, where you believed in my concept and I believed in your concept. And it's interesting to see that we're now in 2021 and both our companies are growing and evolving. And I'm very happy now to invite you and to speak about your company, about EventWell and about the role of well-being and mental health. So welcome, Helen. Would you like to share anything or introduce yourself?
Yes, just quickly introduce myself. So my name is Helen Moon. I'm CEO and founder of EventWell. EventWell is a charitable social enterprise here in the UK. We call ourselves the mental health and wellbeing voice of the events industry. And that's because we basically founded on the annual Event Wellbeing Week, which started in September 2017, so around about the time that I first met Mariska. And it's our role in the industry since 2017 really has evolved. So we're much more of an outreach and support mechanism now, an organisation for the events industry than we were when we first started. Initially, we started off as that annual campaign, which this year actually will be our 5th year of campaigning. So it's our 5th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
So it's gone so quick. It's gone really, really fast. So that's it. We're here to support. We're here to champion better mental health and wellbeing in the events industry. A very important task, a very much needed task. We're an industry that sees 1 in 3 of its event professionals struggling every year. So, we're here to change that. So we're here. Our vision is to make tangible change to the event industry's relationship with wellbeing. And we are starting to see that movement, which has been pushed, I think, a little bit more by COVID-19 and the pandemic. But, it was a movement and a shift that we were starting to see. So that's really in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much for the introduction. We're here now in 2021. Like you said, it's for all of us a very challenge. 2020 has been one of the most challenging years, and 2021, I think all the people are listening now are in a lockdown. So it doesn't look that, say, optimistic and very little perspective also for our industry. Can you give us some? I'm very practical in Dutch. Can you give us some practical tips how to work on your well-being and mental health in these times that people can say they can implement perhaps on a daily basis? Of course, they can find it on your website, which we'll share. But can you share some things perhaps that you also do with the people who are listening?
Yeah. What do you mean apart from in 2021 wanted to absolutely hibernate for the whole year? 22. Apart from that, it would be lovely if we could. Particularly the way it started as well, absolutely. I think the most important thing that everybody can be doing right now, and that's everybody listening here today and everybody that will be listening kind of following up from this. The most important thing at the moment is we've got to slow down. And the one thing that COVID and the pandemic has taught us, and you'll hear lots of people across the industry talking about this as well, is how they've been able to stop, and they've been able to think a little bit better, and have that time to. Some people, you'll hear some people turn around saying they've discovered themselves in the pandemic and lockdown, and actually realise what their passion is and what they want to do. We've just got to continue doing that. In times of uncertainty, you know, we don't really know 100% what's ahead of us at the moment. So at the moment, I think everybody just concentrates on, don't plan ahead too much. Get used to living in the present. It's one of the best things that you can do for your mental health and well-being, is being more present, being now. So concentrate on that. Concentrate on yourself. Self-care isn't selfish. It's one of the most unselfish things that you can do for yourself, because taking better care of yourself means that you're in a better position, one, to take care of others. So that's why it's not selfish, it's unselfish. But also as well, you'll be more productive, you'll be more creative, you'll be more resilient. Self-care is fundamentally really important. So my advice to everybody is just take it a day at a time, slow down. Don't try and worry too much about the future, because you worry too much about the future. If you live in the future, you're susceptible to anxiety. If you live in the past, you're susceptible to depression. Concentrate on the here and now. Sleep, exercise, movement, being active as much as you possibly can. Stay connected as much as you can. You know, Zoom, it's not ideal, but Zoom, calls, text, good old-fashioned telephone calls or something.
Yes.
All of that kind of stuff. But fundamentally is you know, just be looking after yourself. It's really important for protecting your mental health and well-being at the moment, because everybody's suffering at the moment. Lots of people are experiencing mental health issues and problems for the first time, and lots of people are in that space and don't even know that that's what they're experiencing. So I did a lunch and learn yesterday, and literally every single person that was on that lunch and learn, I did a stress symptoms poll to see what people had experienced over the last 12 months, and every single person ticked symptoms that were displaying signs of severe stress. So that's, you know, just that in itself will, you know, highlight the importance of taking better care of ourselves. That's what we should be doing right now.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I think it's an excellent slogan, because it's something also that we needed to learn, because in the meetings and events industry, and I can only, confirm that, you go in the flow of your work. We love traveling. We have so much passion for our job in the meetings and events industry that we working 50, 60 hours a week is normal. And traveling in the weekends, missing out, not to relax, not able to recharge your batteries. And I think that is really what you said now, that we are forced to slow down. Sometimes it's good to say, okay, I don't want perhaps back to go to that rat race, like we call it sometimes, and be more present and slow down. So I think it's an excellent advice. So your company EventWell is only focused on the meetings and events industry, correct?
Meeting and events, we're hospitality, travel, creative communications, experiential marketing. So because we're all closely related to each other, we're all very best of friends, cousins, family, if that makes sense. So it's not just events. We started off primarily in the events industry. That was our target audience and our industry, but we've gone further afield.
Okay. And can you also share some information, because you have you're giving now a few practical tips for people how to stay how to work on the mental health and well-being for this year, but you've also created courses, especially also for freelancers or individuals, and also for companies. Perhaps that would also be interesting, because I think the majority who are freelancers are joining, but I think it's also interesting that also companies joining us, what they can do within the company to focus more on well-being and mental health. Yeah.
So as a not-for-profit organisation, charitable organisation, we have a membership. So we work on a membership. We have what's called Friends of EventWell. You'll find that most charitable organisations in the UK will have what they call their Friends membership.
Yeah.
So charities tend to call their members friends rather than a little bit more personal. So we have professional friends and members, and we have business friends and members. So our business membership is a workplace wellbeing solution. We've got certain benefits and stuff that we offer. So there's a monthly masterclass. We have EventWell Fit, which is our new virtual mind and body gym. So it's not just HIIT and yoga. We've got hypnotherapy and meditation and breath work and stuff like that in there as well. So it's all about exercising the mind as well as the body. So business would have their teams can attend a weekly chat class of their choice. We've got Bite Size, which is bite-sized little YouTube clips and videos and stuff that we put together each month in terms of how you can take better care of your self-care. And we've got our resources. We've got EventWell Connect, which is our own community. And EventWell Connect is all about providing a safe space for people who might be struggling or who want to come and ask for tips and advice about their mental health. It's a safe space for people to come to. And the reason we've kind of done that is really because there's a lot of stigma in our industry. There's stigma and discrimination that exists around the mental health anyway. People find it difficult to ask for help. They don't want to be judged. They don't want people to think negatively about them. That is changing. But in the events industry, remember, we've got that 1 in 3 issue. So 1 in 3 will struggle with their mental health every year. The stigma is so high in our industry. We set up EventWell Pledge, which is specifically to help people, and it's taken a few months for people to be able to come forward and ask for help. So EventWell Connect is all about providing that safe space. I mean, I'm someone who lives with bipolar disorder. I myself will only talk, and I talk quite openly about it now, because of it, I'm leading EventWell. So that is my safe space, if that makes sense, for me to be able to talk about my own mental health. EventWell Connect is about providing those safe spaces, but not just for people who might be struggling or experiencing mental health conditions, but also for people to come for tips and advice where they can speak. We can all speak openly. So EventWell Connect is about that community.
I think that's really, really exciting. I think that's really interesting because I think, like you said, I think a lot of people are perhaps experiencing issues with mental health for the first time ever in their lives, due to all their circumstances. So I think it's very important that you have a place where you can go to without being judged and where you can talk with different people who are in similar situations, because I think this is so much needed. And I think, well, unfortunately, I think your group is growing.
Yes.
Do you see there is a huge increase of people connecting with your community?
Definitely. So the membership is increasing every month. The membership's increasing. We've got about 180 members at the moment. I'm remembering that we're still quite new, so that's a lot of members at the moment. We're supporting anybody who's out of work at the moment, so anybody who's been made redundant or lost a job is eligible for 6 months free membership of EventWell, because obviously we understand. To give you a statistic from the UK, and this comes to Mind, which is a big charity over here. I'm sure some of you will have heard of Mind. When you're in work, the mental health statistic is 1 in 6 in terms of people who struggle with mental health. So that as well.
So repeat that again. So
1 in 6.
1 out of 6 employees do have an issue with mental health.
And that's people generally in the workplace. So that's not just the events industry, that's every industry. 1 in 6. So that in itself will highlight the issue that we have as an industry of 1 in 3. Okay, so we're double the general statistic in the UK. But going back to that 1 in 6 statistic, just to show you how that changes when people are out of work. So it's 1 in 6 in the UK for people in work. It then goes to 1 in 4, including people who are out of work. So we already know that, being out of work, losing purpose, losing the to do the tasks and duties and stuff to do each day will impact negatively on your mental health and well-being. So we do support people who are out of work, people who have been redundant. So you don't have to be working. You can be associated with the events industry and be out of work at the moment, and we'll support you. We'll give you that 6 months free support. And that all comes out of the charitable outreach objects in terms of what we do. And we're also about to set up a bursary fund for people who are out of work to train in mental health awareness training with Mental Health First Aid England. So that's going to be set up soon. And then touching on mental health first aid, that's also one of the benefits of that business membership as well. So I'm a trained and qualified mental health first aid champion. Our head of education, Louise Warren, is a mental health first aider. So anybody can come and have chats with myself or Louise if they need to, on a completely confidential consultation type basis, whenever they need to. So that's made available as part of our membership as well. There's a lot of businesses will have their own mental health first aiders, but not everybody, when it comes to talking about mental health and wellbeing, not everybody wants to talk to somebody in their workplace.
No, I can understand, because it's can be conflict of interest if you say I have an issue, what topic it might be. I can assume, and especially now when jobs are highly under pressure and a lot of people are being unemployed or might lose of risking their jobs, and so many things are being demanded of the employees, and working from home, combination with families, and not able to travel, not able to escape from home. So I can understand you're not going to say to your boss and say, yeah, I have a mental health issue, and knowing that perhaps you will be the first to leave the company. So I can understand it, looking for another person outside of the company.
Which is against the law in this country. So there's something called the 2010 Equality Act. So you cannot discriminate against somebody based on their health or well-being. So mental health falls under that 2010 Equality Act. Mental health and well-being also falls under the Health and Safety Executive at Work Act of 1973 or 4, or whatever it was, around about the time I was born. There you go, I'm showing my age.
Yeah, well, I think that it's in a lot of companies. It's not allowed to let go of people, but of course we all know it still happens. But but it's good that there's now. What I think is really important, that it's not only understanding the problem, but also understanding the dynamics of the industry. That because we still are call ourselves the industry a bit strange duck in the water, because we're so we live from event to event. We go in that vibe of a trade show, and then to another exciting destination and having a dinner, and it uses a lot of our energy, and so I can totally understand that it's highly needed.
And our professional membership as well, just to mention, so our professional membership, which is the one that's aimed at corporate event organisers, freelancers, contractors, or anybody who just wants to take out that membership for themselves, includes exactly the same benefits that are available to the business members. There's a few extra additions we give to business members, but as a professional member of EventWell, you would receive all of those exactly the same benefits in terms of supporting mental health.
Okay, so it's definitely worth, to check out, especially if it's also the first month's free of charge. I think it's definitely worth checking out. So making the switch of the conversation also to the marketing perspective, because that's also something that we want to know. And in our preparation call, I was very happy to talk with you that you have actually also to build up your company. Like you said, it was not easy to put mental health and well-being on, first of all, to talk about it and to put it on the map, because a lot of people deny it, or they want to neglect the issues that they have within the company or within themselves. Can you share some marketing examples that you have put in place to let your company grow to where it is today?
Absolutely. Well, EventWell started as a marketing campaign, essentially. So Event Wellbeing Week in 2017 is a campaign. So it took a lot of social media, using influencers and people with those networks around the industry to spread the message. So recognised figureheads, all of that kind of stuff. Setting up the website, but effectively we started as a campaign, and campaigns are very much rely on social media, email marketing, networking, all of that kind of stuff, online networking. It relies on that to get it going, get the word out. The whole creation of specific hashtags, and it started each year. it changed its name. So when we started, it was called EventWell 17. So that was the name of EventWell, EventWell 17, and each year it's been EventWell 18. So this year we're EventWell 21, obviously. So that's the 5th year. But it's amazing to see how far it's come and grown. And marketing is still very much, Eleanor will know this, Eleanor's with us. Eleanor's one of our volunteers, actually. Hi, Eleanor. So it takes a lot. There's a lot of communications go out of EventWell each week because we're doing so many different things now. I mean, we've got EventWell Fit, we've got our membership, we've got Pledge, we've got the Champions program, we've got the manifesto. So that takes a lot of emails, social media to get out and spread the word, because we're still growing. There's still an awful lot of people in our industry that have not heard of EventWell, and we're very conscious of the fact that there's a lot of people in the industry who have not heard of EventWell and what we do. And so it takes us being active and present and stuff. So it brings it back to that message of being present. So that's very, very important to us. And the work we do with community partners and partners and media partners and stuff as well is really important as well, in terms of spreading that message so we can try and reach as many people as possible. Because we've got an important job to do, not just in terms of, you know, spreading that awareness of how important mental health and well-being is, because we want to impact that 1 in 3, remember, but also we've got an important job to do in terms of the support that we're offering. So for us, it's really, you've heard of us now, Karen.
Yeah.
For us, it's really important, particularly because we've got that outreach support and with Pledge and the money that's there specifically to support people in need. When you're a charity, your communications and marketing is really, it's fundamentally important for what you do as an organisation. Yes,
indeed. I totally agree. But in the first part of your answer, you were speaking about influencers. Of course, it is something that is, of course, I think you're one of the happy few companies who used influencers as one of your first, say, strategy to get more, to create more awareness about EventWell. And you say that we're specifically, of course, people from the industry. How did you say? Can you name a few of these people? How did you choose them? Because I think also from an influencer point of view, talk about well-being, of course, but mental health is also not, say, obvious for everyone to get involved. So can you share a bit more insights about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's whenever you pick any kind of influencers to work with your organisation, I mean, you have to ensure that their values align with your values first and foremost. Yeah. So first for us, it was really fundamentally, it was picking out and working with those event professionals that have that mental health and well-being at their hearts as well. And before kind of 2017, before we started having much more open conversations, I joke about this quite a lot. You kind of, when you live with mental health, when you live with mental health conditions, you tend to know other people in the industry who are doing the same thing. It's like we have this innate ability as human beings to just, we're like magnets to each other. So we just tend to congregate and we gather in little groups and stuff. And it's almost like you find each other in a weird, freaky, subconscious way. So I already knew quite a few people in the industry who are actually influencers and figureheads and thought leaders and stuff in the industry anyway. So I already knew a few of these guys that, you know, had mental health and well-being and were passionate about it and wanted to see a difference in the industry. So we kind of knew each other anyway, if that makes sense. So when it came to the point of, right, okay, this statement's come out from CareerCast that says event coordination is the 5th most stressful. That was it was like the starter gun, basically. That came out, everybody's ears pricked up and kind of went, what, are we? And it was like, what do you mean, are we? We all know we are.
Yes.
Anybody who works in this industry knows how stressful it can be. And that was almost like this little group of us that had got together. It's almost like our starter gun. And that's when we just started spreading the message. And as we've grown and as we've spread our message, it's like a movement. So as we've grown and moved on, more people have come on board. And more thought leaders and figureheads and leaders in the industry have come on board and wanted to support us. So in the beginning, it's almost, which tends to happen in the charity world anyway, so people want to help and support and advocate the charity world because of the work that's being done. So we tended to find in the first, it was us going out and finding influencers and leaders at first, and we're still doing a bit of that now. But we're now finding it flipping the other way, and those influencers and leaders are actually now coming to us, wanting to support what we're doing.
Okay, so you get now a reverse. So first, of course, you approach because no one knows you, and now you get the opposite, which is, of course, picking up. I would say you can now harvest from the seeds that you put in the ground, because influencers also played, I think, a crucial role to make your company the company successful. Any other tips that you can give towards the listeners? Saying about influencer marketing, or any marketing, or any tips, or things that you have done to implement to spread the word about mental health and well-being and about your company.
Yeah, plan. I would give out that advice. So have very, very clear. From the very beginning, EventWell has had a very, very clear mission and vision and values and objectives in terms of what we're looking to achieve for that period, whether that's a 12-month period, whether at the moment is kind of, we're very much kind of brought that down to looking at quarterly periods, how we're doing for that quarter and what we need to be doing in that quarter. So it's have a very well thought out plan, flexible plan, because obviously all plans need to be flexible because things can change, particularly at the moment we're all finding that at the moment, aren't we? But make sure that you've got a very clear kind of strategy and plan in terms of what you need to be delivering by way of your communications, and how influencers, and choosing the right influencers that can come on board with you with that message that you want to be sending out. So Event Wellbeing Day, our next one's coming up on the 3rd of March. We've got the theme for it will be Rising Strong. So we're going to be very much talking about kind of building resilience, picking yourself back up again after falling down. And from that, we know exactly what the message is for that particular campaign, and we know from that particular message what it is, what we're trying to achieve, who we then need to go to, and whether those people in particular influencers and people that can come on board are going to fit with that message and those values. So, planning is important, really, really important. It gives you a very, very clear indication of who and why you should be working with certain people or organisations in terms of like influencer reach. Yeah. Because not all influencers are right for what you want to achieve, and that's really important.
Yeah, and I think especially about your topic, because you want to have people that are, say, a natural extension of your company, like you said, that they can even spread the word and being enthusiastic about your company, and even they can spread that enthusiasm towards other influencers or other people they get involved, or even people that at least that they know about your company, if they're interested, and they know where to go to. And you say plan. I think it goes further to a very thorough strategy, but also what I really like what you said is about mission and vision. I think a lot of people, even I must be on to admit, mission and vision is also not on my website, therefore redesigning our website. So it will also be on our website. But I think it's having a good strategy, because then it's easier also to align into which influencer, which people that you're looking for, because that's also what we often see if we create a briefing and to find the right people, that a strategy and objectives, mission and vision is there. Like you said, it stands and falls to find the right people.
Keeps you on your path as well. So it keeps you saying, this is the vision, this is what you wanted to achieve this year. So it kind of keeps you. And remember, flexibility. So don't blink yourself too much so that you miss something in your side view that could take you on a really, really great journey, and something that's really, really beneficial for your business or for you. So don't blink yourself too much, but having a plan. I've learned over the years that making sure you have that plan kind of keeps you, because I'm particularly if you're a passionate person, I'm very passionate about the stuff I do. And when you're a passionate person, sometimes it can take you off on a kimber, if that makes sense. So you can go off route very easily when you're passionate, because then you're like, oh, I want to do that. That's a good idea. Let's do that. No.
Well, that sounds something I really can relate with, and I think a lot of people from our events industry, if we hear something new or idea, oh yeah, let's do that. But actually, is it really But then you really have to reflect, does it really contribute towards my business? Does it really help me to achieve my goals that I've set from the start? So and it's something I also, but I think that's also learning, and sometimes you have to make a side jump to go back on track. Because like you said, this year is going to be another challenging year, and you need to be flexible and agile to also to adapt. I saw there was a question coming up.
Yes, there was a question from Karen. So what do you think, Helen? Are all your events virtual in 2021, or do you have plans to meet in the flesh in later part of the year? What are your plans?
Okay, so we're a bit of both. So what actually happened with 2020 and COVID hitting in 2020 and lockdown actually pushed us to do a lot more stuff virtually than we would have, or digitally, as I prefer to say, than we planned to do. So talking about the plan, remember to keep yourself flexible, because obviously we were all thrown in the same situation last year where we had to massively alter our plans and just go with the flow and see how last year took us. So we're doing a lot more virtual digital stuff than we planned to do last year. But virtual digital is a big part of what we do now as an organisation, because actually what's happened last year has shaped who EventWell is now for this year, if that makes sense, in a positive way. So our philosophy now as an organisation is, rather than in terms of the education that we push out, which is part of our outreach, rather than us saying you come to EventWell, we're now able to say, because we've embraced that virtual digital offering, we're now able to say we will come to you. And it's really shaped our membership offering and our Friends of EventWell offering this year, as well as our training in terms of masterclasses and lunches and learns and all of that kind of stuff, and our EventWell Talks program, which will be virtual. As soon as we can get back to live, as soon as we can get back in venues, we will have a live offering. But and one of the main things that we're thinking of for that is, last year we did the first EventWell Digital Summit, so which was a 2-day mental health and wellbeing event that was specifically for the events industry. So there's lots of wellbeing and mental health summits out there. If you Google it, you'll find hundreds of the things. There's loads of them, but there's nothing that's specific for industry. I think the rail industry do specific events as well. So but not for the events industry. So we did the first one in 2020. The plan for this year in 2021, it will be held in July, and we're changing the name of that, so it's called EventWell Live. The plan is that we'll have a venue booked in London, a venue booked over in North America, and we'll be doing hybrid elements to connect the two together, and so that people can join us digitally and virtually as well. So when we get back to live, and when we're able to book venues again, our offering will be more of a hybrid solution, because it's important for EventWell to reach as many people and as many diverse audiences as we possibly can. And the best way for us to be able to deliver on that objective is for a digital hybrid virtual offering, because it allows people who haven't quite got the flexibility to be able to attend events or attend a full day event. Just to give an example, I'm a mum, so homeschooling at the moment, loving it. My little girl starts school at 9 o'clock and she finishes at 3:15. I can't go to an event that starts at 9 o'clock and finishes at 5. A live event, I can't. I could probably get there about 10 o'clock after I've dropped my little girl off at school, but I wouldn't be there for a 9 o'clock start, and I'd have to leave at 2 o'clock to be able to go and pick her up from school. So it's just that digital virtual offering offers flexibility, not just about the fact that live is best. That is the best format. We all know that, because you get the most engagement from a live format, face to face. But virtual offers those diverse groups that wouldn't be able to attend your events the opportunity to be able to engage with the content that you're pushing out. That's why, for me, in a way, the positive that's happened over the last 12 months is it has pushed the opportunity for hybrid design, hybrid meeting and event design, and also virtual and digital solutions to our industry that we weren't embracing before. We've been talking about it for 10 years, but we weren't. It's too many people were kind of pushing it away, kind of going, it's almost like there was a fear of it in a way. No, if we do this, people won't want to meet face to face. Nothing will replace face to face. It will always be there. Yeah, because we need it. As human beings, we need that connection. One of the first senses that we're born with is touch. So we can't really see, we can't really hear anything yet. Taste and stuff like that, but touch is really important to us as human beings. So that connection with other human beings is really important to our mental health and well-being. So live and face-to-face is really important for our mental health and well-being. It will never be replaced. But embracing opportunities to give diverse audiences opportunity is the beauty of virtual and hybrid.
Okay, well, I think you're absolutely right. I think we would also prefer to have now this chat, of course, sitting all together around the table, face to face. But due to the fact that we can connect from all parts of the world, and so I think it's an excellent solution. There was another question coming from Carla Maria, one of the ladies. She's asking, what's your approach to mental issues? Perhaps we should ask her to explain a little bit more, because I think it's a very generic.
Yeah.
I will put you on mute.
Yes, what I would like to know is, because nowadays we have several approaches, like you have Tony Robbins, you have lots of American people trying to help all of us to deal with this pandemic, and he's very focused on the problems and how we deal with the problems. And you said in the beginning that we really need to be on the present and to slow down. I think that is the way, but in a certain way, when you have a team, you cannot slow down. You really need to give them a purpose for work each day. So I think I have another question. It's not your approach. Is when you cannot slow down because you have a team, what we could do for yourself and to be able to be well and to be positive, or to manage the team, because the team still exists.
Of course, yeah, of course. But remember as well that authentic leadership. So it's good for you to be looking after your teams. That's really important. You have that duty of care as the team leader, as a business owner, to be making sure that you're looking after the people that are working for your organisation. That falls under that. But you also have a duty of care to yourself, because while you're looking after the team, who's looking after you? So authentic leadership is one of the most valuable ways that you can lead businesses. So if you're struggling, be open and share that with your team that you're struggling. That's how I lead. That's how I do it with the volunteers and the team that work for EventWell. So they know if I'm having a bad time or if I'm struggling. I'm completely open and honest, and because I know that by me being open and honest and authentic, they will be open and honest and authentic with me, and they'll share when they're struggling. And they know that they can come to me and they can come and talk to me if they need to chat, they need help. They know that they can do that. And that's so authentic leadership is really, really important, because I've lived with bipolar since 16, and pretending to be someone who doesn't live with a mental health condition is exhausting, and it's stressful, and it makes you worse. It makes you iller. So pretending to be something that you're not is not the best way to lead, in my view. Being yourself, being able to bring your whole self to work. You'll find a lot of organisations talk about this. Being authentic, being real, being you. We don't live in a world anymore where you went to the office at 9 o'clock and you left your personal life at home. I used to. I won't say this. There's a saying in England. You kind of over in the UK. You kind of swear when you say it, kind of stuff. So I'm not going to say what it is, but it's basically about leaving something on the doorstep when you go to work. You used to leave your problems, and it just makes you end up harboring emotions and holding emotions and the way you're really feeling in, and that isn't good for anybody to be able to do that. So you actually end up making yourself worse. You don't help the situation at all. And we're all, you know, if your team can see that you're struggling and being open and honest with it, then that's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, we're all struggling right now. I think if I was to ask every single person that's attending this event today to say, have you been struggling over the last, and I said to honestly put your hand up if you've struggled with anything in regards to sleep, you're not sleeping well, you're struggling with terms of diet, you're getting headaches. These are all signs of stress. And if I was to ask this, every single one of you would put your hand up if you were being completely 100% honest. And that's what we need to learn to be a little bit more. We've got to move away from this rhetoric we've had in the industry where we glorify not having had any sleep, where we glorify the fact that we haven't been on a holiday all year, where we glorify the fact that you've worked on 6 events back to back for the past 6 months and I'm exhausted. We glorify being tired. We glorify being stressed like it's a prize that we should keep on our desk to say that means that we're a good event professional because we're exhausted, burnt out and tired and stressed. It's not at all. It's not a badge to wear with honour. It's a badge that we should be looking to say something needs to change. It's like Mariska was saying earlier about the 50, 60 hours a week being the norm. It shouldn't be the norm. We should be able to be doing our jobs within the 40 hours that we're contracted to be working. You know, that's the norm. So, and that's what this year has taught a lot of people, when people have actually been able to slow down and stop for a second and kind of go, I don't want to go back to the old way. I don't want to go back to working like that. And that's what I'm hearing from so many people now. So it's a time for leaders and business owners and managers to kind of take on board that and think about their own health and well-being. Even the guys and the men that work in our industry that have been able to see their kids probably for the first time this past 12 months and spend time with their families. You know, you've got to think about that mental health and well-being impact on that family unit and how important that is, and what a difference that can make to people. So we've got to, as managers, and I completely agree, you've got to keep momentum up, you've got to keep enthusiasm and motivation up with your team, but by being a real you, that will come naturally. You won't have to work so hard on it. Does that make sense? So be you, find out the things that work for you. So all of these American motivators and influencers, they're great, but take them in small bits. It doesn't work for everybody. Tony Robbins is not everybody's cup of tea. And I'll take every other kind of thing he sends out. I'll take it and kind of go, no, you're getting a bit too much now, kind of stuff. But you've got to find the stuff that works for you. So read the books, find out what exercise and activities and stuff work for you. What food works for you? You know, is music your thing? Is being creative outside of working in a creative industry your thing? You know, I always give out this tip to people is when you work in our industry, we're very passionate about what we do because we're creative people and creative people are passionate people. Fortunately, the two just go naturally hand in hand, creativity and passion. It's what makes us unique, beautiful individuals in industry that we are. So find a passion outside of work that works for you as well, that isn't events. So you can turn that passion into something else and it allows you to give you that break. But yeah, my biggest advice now as a leader, be yourself as a leader, because that's what your team want to see, because they want to be themselves as well. And they will follow your lead. They'll do whatever you ask them to do, really.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Helen. I see we've come up already quickly to the 45 minutes to the end of the chat. I see that's a very thriving and interesting topic. So we will share also the contact details, so you will get a confirmation mail where you can speak also about this topic and find more information about well-being and mental health on the website of Helen. And of course, you can also connect with her on LinkedIn and perhaps continue the conversation, because I think it's really important. So thank you so much for your contribution, Helen, and I hope to see you soon this year, perhaps at one of your events. And thank you so much, all the participants, for your engagement and for your questions and for your honesty. I think it's really important. say also thank you, Jaro, for your weekly support. And next week we're going to speak, which is a different topic, but also an important topic. We will talk about airlines and what they've put in place in these challenging times. So we will speak with Maris Kuklis. So I hope you can connect with us in the next week. And also some exciting hosts that we just confirmed is we have Carina Bauer from IMEX also coming up as one of our editions. So if you want to know more about why IMEX is cancelled and what is taking place, that could also be interesting. So thank you so much for your time, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye. Bye bye.
Thank you, Helen.